Scene is Ralph is stabbing 422 and a half Ruth Avenue. Actors not on location, as I said prior, and they advise they are outside at the bottom of the steps.
Are we clear to approach?
In a press release from Lieutenant Steve Dorse with the Baytown Police Department, on September 5th at 1:03 a.m., officers were dispatched to 422 and a half Ruth Street in reference to a stabbing. Upon arrival, they learned that the victim, a 27-year-old Baytown man, had a stab wound to his back. During the investigation, officers learned that the victim had been in an altercation with a black male while outside of the residence. Witnesses at the scene advised they heard a disturbance, and when they went outside the residence to investigate, they observed a black male on top of the victim assaulting him. One of the witnesses pulled the black male off the victim, at which time the black male fled the scene on foot. The suspect was described as a black male, approximately 40 years old, 5 feet 10 inches tall, 180 pounds, and goes by the name of Mac. The victim was flown to a Houston area hospital to be treated for his injuries and is expected to survive. Detectives are currently investigating.
155, should we go out on the stabbing?
Also, on September 5th at 10:20 p.m., officers were dispatched to the Creekside Apartments located in the 3100 block of Decker Drive in reference to an assault. Upon arrival, officers learned that the complainant and her 2 sons had been assaulted by 2 females and 2 males. The complainant advised she heard a loud knocking on the door of her apartment. As she opened the door, the suspects entered her apartment and began assaulting her and her 2 sons. At some point during the altercation, a knife was brandished, and the 2 male suspects each suffered knife wounds before leaving the apartment with the 2 female suspects. Responding officers located a speeding vehicle near the scene, and it was stopped. Inside the vehicle were the 2 male suspects, both with knife wounds, and the 2 female suspects. One of the male suspects had at least 1 wound to his arm, and the other had at least 1 wound to his back. The male suspects were transported to area hospitals to be treated for their injuries, while the females were transported to the Baytown Police Department for formal interviews. The victims at the apartment suffered minor injuries and were treated by EMS at the scene. It has been determined thus far that the victims and the suspects all knew each other. Detectives are still investigating, and no charges have been filed at this point.